Welcome to the United States of America, my home for the past 14 years and maybe where you're thinking of living next. You see, I was raised in Switzerland and English is my first language, but moving to the US came with a lot of shock. If you move here, you will change. Fittingly, the change will happen in 4 quarters. Here's what to expect. Free refills, ranch, big cars and big roads, huge portion sizes. Ranch, not having to pay extra for ketchup, lots of flags, lots and lots of flags. Ranch, there's a lot of ranch, and ranch is a salad dressing, but in great American fashion, it's used for definitely not salad. You might be shocked by the enthusiastic customer support in retail stores. You're gonna wanna try all the American candy and you're gonna wanna try all the American fast food. After, you're gonna wanna use the bathroom. And the public bathrooms in the US are, for some reason, there's this hole at the bottom and then there's this thing on the side. I'll get into it later. You wanna take the New York subway, and honestly, the New York subway is just like any other subway. Fried butter and fried Oreos, that's the thing here. I mean, just imagine. Yeah. My heart is heavy. We lost a good man today. He loved his family and he loved fried Oreos and fried butter, and he loved when his family watched him eat fried Oreos and fried butter. Lord. I mean, who could have seen this coming? Unfortunately, he died of an unknown heart condition. I think it's the butter. I think it's the butter and the fried butter and the fried Oreos and the ranch, probably the ranch too. Upon arrival, you'll find yourself asking things like what pop and soda is. You'll also ask, where are all the roundabouts? Why does everybody like Seinfeld? You'll probably wonder, how are these the people that made it to the moon? You'll probably ask yourself, what's that yellow line on the American football field, and is it painted on? You'll notice Florida has some wild people. You'll notice Americans are very confident, even if they have little fluency in something. You'll notice you can't say things like bin and boot and Arby's. It's technically meat. The second quarter comes with less shock and a bit more clarity, like Florida and New York City have the wildest people. You think the ease of how to sue people is absurd. And after a while, you'll realize this country has a strange relationship with race. There's a cyclical debate about race in America. They go round and around with the same talking points until something goes wrong enough and they have no other option but to stop and fix the issue at its core. To really drive this point home, this country loves to focus on the exterior and the outwardly when it comes to race, but they never take enough time to focus on the inward. In my journey of understanding how this country works, I realized if you want to understand this country as a whole, you have to take time to understand race. Because like I said in the beginning of the video, I grew up in Europe and race is different there, if you catch my drift. In the second quarter, your questions are now a bit more astute. Like, how can Taco Bell taste like this when the country that made tacos neighbors the US? You're still wondering, why does a country known for its success do the exact opposite when it comes to toilet stalls? Let's just go back to that. Again, why do we do this gap? Why does taking a dump feel like an exhibition?
There are 6 flags on the field.
Okay, I just want to introduce the first confession corner. Let's just jump into it. I was in a frat party once in college, and the fire alarm went off. And there's a bunch of us in this basement, and instead of leaving, we just chanted, USA, USA. And we did that for a whole 3 minutes, and then the fire alarm stopped, and everybody in there cheered. And it was as if
our cheer stopped the fire alarm, and I thoroughly enjoyed this moment. And that's when I knew things were changing.
I had so much rubber meat, they erased what I had.
It's the third quarter, and you're one step closer to becoming an immigrant Yank, and your two-step is actually not that bad because you've been invited to a couple family functions and you've been, hey. You've probably done the Cupid shuffle and the cha-cha slide, and you've probably even swag surfed now. You doubted the cranberry sauce as a side along with your turkey and your mashed potatoes during Thanksgiving, and now you're a huge fan. You understand Spirit Airline jokes. At this point, you've made awkward eye contact with countless strangers when taking a dump. You are unfazed now.
You realize Florida, New York City, Oregon, and Mississippi have the wildest people in the US. You realize the convenience of services is unparalleled. You realize the cultures that come together to make America. Queso cheese, salsa sauce, chai tea, gyoza dumpling are all perfectly normal things to say.
Chai is tea! You're saying PT, you dum-dum?
This naming redundancy is a mark that culture is in fact part of American culture now. You know, I had left the US once for a year, and I was somewhere that didn't have a big Latin American population. And when I returned to the US after that year, I arrived through LAX. And after taking about 12 steps out of my gate, I heard Spanish. And I didn't think much of it, and I just continued on with my day. And later on that week, I realized that was a marker that I am home. I didn't realize, but hearing Spanish in my periphery day to day was an indicator that I am in fact in the US.
You are a donkey.
Yes, donkey in it, Dave.
This may not resonate with everyone, but in my third quarter, I started calling Capri-Sun Capri-Sun. I started to call the toilet a restroom. And speaking about public restrooms, let's just talk about it one more time and I won't bring it up again in this video. I now crave eye contact when taking a dump. The many poop stares have caused this unhealthy Pavlovian reaction when going on dates and eye doctor visits. I have another confession to make here, guys. I was in Australia and I missed American beer. To be exact, I missed the taste of Budweiser. So I went out to the store, I sought out Budweiser, and I brought the Budweiser home, and I drank it, and I enjoyed it. For my non-alcoholic drinkers, looking for American beer in a country that has good beer is like missing your daughter's kindergarten graduation to go to Arby's.
Anything's possible!
It's the fourth quarter. I've been waiting for you guys. Time moves a bit slower down here. I've just been waiting in this DMV line. What have I been doing to pass the time? I've been playing cornhole. That's right. You know what this is now. Congratulations, you now have an American accent. You may not think you do, but your friends outside of the US would beg to differ. You swore you would never have one. It's okay, it's a safe space. The fourth quarter is all about acceptance and realizing that those wild Americans is you now. Yes, you may not be an American citizen, but you have an opinion over Shake Shack, Whataburger, Five Guys, and In-N-Out. You feel strongly about your regional gas station, Quick Trip, Casey's, Wawa, Sheetz, Sonic. And even if you don't have a strong opinion about those two things, you understood the significance of those two sentences. Welcome. If you previously called it a laboratory, there is not a chance in Obama's green America you are still calling it that. Calling aluminum aluminium is stupid. You probably have an NFL team or a college team you support or are partial to. You previously thought people abused the justice system by suing for the smallest of things. Now when you cross the road, you pray a mother does as little as blink twice your direction so you can sue those fluttering eyes and waste the judge's time and the taxpayer's time. You start to expect the customer service enthusiasm you once loathed. First, you were surprised that these were the people that went to the moon. Now you start to think, wait a minute, maybe I can go to the moon. And here's the toughest and last confession corner.
Oh, they called an offensive foul.
Can't even look you guys in the eye. I don't call it Adidas anymore. I call it Adidas. There's more. There's more. And before I say it, just understand that I'm sorry. I'm deeply sorry. I call it soccer now. That's right. I said soccer. I realized sticking to my guns was just confusing people whenever I was out. I want to apologize to my friends and the rest of the world for calling it soccer. I wrote an apology down on this this fast food napkin. I actually some leftover cheese. It's actually not bad. I am sorry. The Americans pushed me to do it. And there's a little more cheese. Hold up. I have reached the final status of immigrant yank. The previous version of me is no longer. I have crossed over. If you don't want to give in to your American side, here are some ways that you can protest. All right, the first thing you can do is use Celsius, okay? I have been living here for 14 years and I still use Celsius on my phone. I refuse to understand Fahrenheit. Do you know what temperature water boils at in Fahrenheit? Go ahead, guess. 212. I actually had to research that for this video. I don't know that off the top of my head, and neither does a lot of Americans. I refuse to dedicate such an arbitrary number to my memory. I refuse to abide by such a nonsense system. Another thing you can do is say Z instead of Z. This is definitely gonna stump some people. Call it primary school instead of elementary school. People will know what you mean when you say primary school, but just, let them know that you're still, yep. And finally, my friends, spell color with a U, spell neighbor with a U, spell theater with a TRE, spell center with a TRE. Whether it's a work email, an academic paper, or just text with friends, honor the old version of you. And that's honor with a U. But honestly, change isn't good or bad. It just is. I am nothing like the pre-US version of me, but I'm fine with that. So maybe this video resonated with you, or maybe it reminded you of someone that you know. If it does, please share and don't forget to like and subscribe. The United States has 360 million people living here, and it's huge. So your living here probably looked a lot different than my living here. So what's one thing that changed about yourself? There you have it. We went from assuming Floridians are the wild people to realizing it's the whole of the US that's wild, and maybe even you, but not me. Not me. Isn't that right? My ducks. My lovely ducks. It's time to eat. Feed. Feed my ducklings here. You guys can share that. Yeah, you can share that too. Feed. Feed.